morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Friday. Man, we've made it through another week. Got the Super Bowl coming this weekend. Got the golf tournament here in town. The People's Open, as they like to call it. I hope all of you have a fun weekend, right? It's kind of like the end of, you had the holidays, right? The New Year, you had the college bowl games, and this is kind of the end, I guess, of the of all the big stuff. Then you get into what we get. Baseball, no offense. I like baseball. It's just kind of boring, but basketball, I don't know that I have a whole lot of interest in that either. But nonetheless, I guess March Madness, right? That'll be the next one to look forward to. But what a crazy week it has been. Gold touched a new all-time record high again this morning. We're going to have a lot more of those this year. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. Make sure you get out there. Listen, we got so much stuff out there. Obviously, you can get all the podcasts, all that stuff, and, YouTube and all the other Rumble, all the stuff, all the places where, but Monday through Friday, we put different articles, different videos up there. Really, the vast majority of the article, we probably do close to 100 videos and articles a week up there, and we'd be lucky if we talk about 5 or 6 of them. Lucky if we talk about that. So there's a lot of information that you could get out there. Obviously, we've got the shopping cart out there. We've got all the information about IRAs out there. We have our metals plan stuff that's out there. So you got everything you need out at allamericangold.com. It is Jobs Day today. The numbers were in. And I really, I'll say this. It had a little bit of everything. The number came in less than expected at 143,000 jobs created. They did have a revision to December. So listen to this. I don't know. Maybe it's true. 307,000 jobs created in December, so about half, right? So half of that. I think that's okay. I'm like, if it was below 100,000, then maybe I worry. But 140, good enough. Good enough. There was a bunch of revisions made, mostly to the household survey. So one of the things that happened is they increased the civilian labor force. So they said that, hey, I know that we've been saying there's 168 million people working on, it's really 170 million. Of course, they also increased, or I guess I should say, let me rephrase it, 170 million eligible to work. And they also increased the number of employed workers by the same amount. By doing that, by the way, number of employed workers, almost 164 million of the 170 million that could be working. That because of that change, it lowered the unemployment rate to 4% from 4.1. It's not a big deal. Unemployment's low, right? Everybody knows that. The unemployment number was low, but that's how it got there. There was an increase in the, I don't know how, but I don't know, call it, maybe it's the illegals or whatever. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I think for all practical purposes, adjustments are going to be made from time to time. But that is how the unemployment rate fell. The participation rate, obviously, with that change, ticked up to 62%. So that was kind of inside of the number. That was the biggest thing that we were looking at. By the way, the seasonally adjusted total non-farm payrolls were downwardly revised by 589,000. So the government, again, coming back, saying, hey, last year we overestimated, took down jobs down 589,000. Not a lot there. I think that was all to be expected, Jason. So when we looked at the numbers, healthcare, 44,000. Retail, which we know this number is bogus, but they seasonally adjust, 34,000. Obviously, retailers are laying off in January, getting rid of any seasonal help, and then, of course, the store closings. But 34,000. Social assistance, up 22,000. That was kind of a big one. And then, of course, the one that I told you to look for, where did we see the Trump effect in this number? The answer was no. And I didn't think so. Got to remember, he didn't even get into the 21st of January. This was a January number. Government added 32,000 jobs for that number. So a lot of stuff in there. But overall, I would say, yeah, there's a reason why gold's going higher today, because that's an inflationary number, and it will continue to be. We'll be back after the break. We're back. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason wrapping up this Friday. The Dow is down 320. Obviously, the jobs report, it was fine. It was more to do with Amazon and trade war issues. We'll get to Amazon in a minute. The S&P's down 45. The NASDAQ down 225. The 10-year note back to 4.5 and heading higher. And like I said, we got a big week. There's a lot of debt. The Treasury's got to refinance itself. Oil's up a little bit. Gold is on the move again. The TV gold right back to $2,900, but spot gold right now $28.75. It's been as high as almost $28.88. Silver higher as well, $30.22 as we continue this. Hey, how's this going to work? Right? How is all of this going to play out? And I think the real thing that is coming to fruition, so to speak, is things aren't going to get cheaper. Right? That we're hoping, right? Hey, can things get a little cheaper? Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And all of the things, whether it's tariffs, energy, all of these things are going to have an effect. There was the University of Michigan sentiment that came out. It missed expectations. Again, I think people just, Jason, come into the realization that we're probably not going to get back to 2% anytime soon, and that we're gonna just listen. Inflation's gonna be hopefully it'll only be in the 3 or the 4s, because that really means 6 to 8, right? That's I hope, Jason. We'll have to wait and see.
I'm just tired of saying that 2%'s been their number since they recalibrated the number. It's been 5%, pretty much 4%, 5% for years. It's been 4 or 5%. And inflation is essentially a money creation. We've said that on the air many times, Joe. And if you look at money creation on average year to year to year for the last 20 years or so, it's about 5%. So, remember, Joe, 1980s, whatever, 1980, what did they decided to recalculate inflation. So, and then in the 2000s, they have this 2% number, which really reflects 4 to 5%. So you're right, Joe. Now, they can't get to their fraudulent 2% number, which is 4 to 5%, which means 3 or 4% on their fraudulent number, which means what you just said, 6 to 8% is the real number. And that's going to be, that's normal now. Normal 8%. Not even the S&P 500 really keeps up with 8% too well, does it?
Yeah, and then, it's kind of funny because one of the other things that is starting to hurt, so Amazon as an example, saying that they reported results after the bell yesterday. They had a weaker than expected first quarter forecast, the possibility of its slowest revenue growth on record. So Amazon, which, let's face it, Amazon is growth, right? We get it. I think they're going to pass Walmart in revenue now. So they're going to be, obviously a mega giant, but saying, hey, we're hitting this point now where the growth is getting a lot harder. One of the things that they complained about was the strong dollar. Yeah, it hurts our earnings from overseas because the dollar's so strong. When we convert the euros, the yens, the renminbis, the British pounds, right, all of these other currencies, they get less dollars. And Amazon's saying, hey, it's really starting to have an effect, and said to the tune of over $700 million in the fourth quarter. You got the same thing, like Apple gets 58% of its earnings overseas, Meta 55%, Alphabet 52%, Microsoft, Tesla, right? They're all 50%. These are, we say they're U.S. companies, but when, half or more of your revenue comes from overseas, are you really, right? So in any event, Jason, Amazon clearly saying, hey, there's headwinds. Revenue growth is getting harder, right? It's getting harder to come by. They are going to spend $100 billion on AI. Very interesting news out of Taco Bell, Yum Brands today, saying they are working as fast as they can. Apparently, Jason, Taco Bell's goal, use AI to go cashless. So the CEO of Yum Brands announced that they are using artificial intelligence to move 100% of its sales to digital, saying that the company's goal is to have digital sales become all of the sales at all Yum Brand locations. So that's Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut. Now, they didn't say exactly when. I was looking for what is the timeline for this. They didn't announce what the timeline was going to be, but Yum Brand saying, listen, in the future here, we're going to use AI. We're probably not going to have any type of cashiers, right? Nobody taking your order. You order it yourself through AI. Maybe you'll have a person build the burritos. You'll have a burrito builder, but Jason, Yum Brand's letting people know, hey, just like everybody else, everyone's kind of letting you know, hey, cash is going to go away, but look how great it'll be. And of course, at the end of this, listen, why would you invest this type of money unless you knew you could get a huge return for it? And how do these companies get returns? Right? Is Yum Brands going to do more business because of AI? No. They're doing this. Amazon, are they going to do more? Look at Amazon. They do more business than Walmart. Right? But, Jason, cash is going away. They know it's going away. They want to eliminate. And think about this. Man, if we can eliminate everybody there except for the burrito builder, right? That's where the ROI and all of this stuff's going to come in, without a doubt. I actually want to give the Yum Brands CFO credit for saying it out loud. Hey, listen, this is where it's heading. So if there was any doubt out there for anybody, when this is fast food. And they're like, yeah, we don't want to take cash anymore.
Yeah, it's moving that direction, Joe. I don't know for sure if cash is completely going away, but it's going to go away for the majority of Americans, because I think what will happen, Joe, is that most corporations, most companies, like you're mentioning here, they'll just stop taking cash. However, I do see a situation in which cash will still be taken, but it'll cost you. Like I go to there's a local restaurant. There's some local restaurants where they actually, since they don't really, they know they get charged for the credit cards, they actually they pass that credit card charge on to the customer directly. Right at the door, it says, hey, if you use a credit card, you're going to get charged, 3-4%. Cash, no charge for cash. What will happen to a business like that is the banks will, Joe and I have talked about it, because of the large amount of cash for a gold and silver company, we get charged to deposit cash. Well, they'll just do that for everybody. And suddenly the local restaurant that likes the cash and passes on the credit card charges to you, suddenly it'll be, well, we're charging you 3 or 4% to use your credit card, but we're going to charge you 10% to use your cash. We'll still take it. And Joe, if something like that happens, cash is going to be utterly useless for people that are on a tight budget. You can't have a 10% cash tax on top of the inflation, on top of everything else, right? But if there is cash in the future, it'll be expensive. How much freedom can you afford? It'll be, if you want anonymity with a cash purchase, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, that's and again, yeah, you're going to pay for it. You got to find, I guess, the parties out there that would still be willing to accept it. Other news, so Neil Kashkari was out on TV today, right? They like to love these Fed guys. They love being on TV. And, of course, he was the guy that did the bailouts, right? So Neil Kashkari was, go back. Remember the bailouts, the car companies were getting bailed out, the airlines, the banks, right? That was him. He got rewarded by being put at the Minneapolis Federal Reserve. So he's one of the 12 central banks. His region, the Minneapolis Fed. He said today on TV, and it's almost comical. Ultimately, our job, he's talking about the job of the Fed, is maximum employment and stable prices. Okay, so this is the dual mandate. Now, they didn't have a dual mandate when they first started. But they only had one mandate, right? Stable prices. Which, for most people, would mean, hey, if a dozen eggs cost this much this year, I want a dozen eggs to cost the same amount next year. And maybe eggs is a bad example. How about a cow? Pick the item. A house, a car, whatever. And what we've seen is anything but stable prices, right? Obviously. And it's funny because when you think about when America became a superpower, it's so funny. A lot of people, the Panama Canal is a big deal right now. Do you know there was no central bank when we went in and essentially built the Panama Canal? Yeah. Nobody could get it done. We could. We did. Right? We were, listen, whether you want to agree or not, we were a superpower. All on the gold standard. We invented the automobile on the gold standard. Well, I don't know what we invented, but you know what I'm saying. Mass production of things, right? The biggest industrial revolution ever. And guess what? Everything still costs the same. Today, they try to tell you, well, look at the car today, right? It's got a reverse camera on it, right? It's got seat belts. It's got, I don't know, you can heat your butt when it's cold in the winter, right? All this stuff. And they say, so, that's going to cost more. It didn't used to. It didn't used to. That's the thing. You could innovate and make your product better and have it not cost more. But needless to say, later on, they decided to add maximum employment. Yeah, so the Fed, the bankers want you to believe Listen, look at the egos on these people. Wait, you're telling me you can control employment and prices? That's what they're saying. Right? That's our mandate. I'm going to tell you right now, the Fed can do neither. That's a big, big fallacy. And, of course, now they said, in their view, stable prices is if it only goes up 2% every year. Of course, we know that isn't true. Right? Maximum employment. We're at maximum employment. Why are, if you can control pricing, do it. Right? Do it then. Show us. They can't. But when we get back, I'm going to tell you what this egomaniac said on TV today. That's coming up next. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe and Jason on this Friday. It's so funny. You know, we think about gaslighting, right? And how the government, the media, right, all these things, you know, gaslight us all the time. This is this is the biggest gaslighting of all time. That these arrogant bankers think, or, well, you know what, here's what's funny. I know they don't actually believe that they can do this. They just want us to believe that they somehow, the masters that they are, we can control employment and prices. Yeah, we can do both. Listen, they can't do either. All they can do is create debt. They can create money out of thin air. That's all they can do. When you think about what powers do they have, that is it. That is it. And now they're at this point where, gosh, they keep creating debt, but the rates won't go down because even though they're trying to lower. So here's Neil Kashkari this morning saying that what their job is, right? Maximum employment, stable prices. Okay, so by the way, you're doing a crappy job. Just look at gold, right? Look at gold. Gold was $300 22 years ago. It's now $3,000. Good job. Way to go. A car. A decent new car, 20 years ago was what, 15 grand? 20 grand? What's it now? 50? 60? Right? 70? If we see, so here's what he says, if we see very good data on inflation, well, the labor market stays strong, then I would think we would move towards supporting easing further. What? I'm wondering what good data on inflation he thinks they're seeing, right? Obviously, the inflation data has been getting worse. But why would you ease if you have full employment, right? That doesn't make sense. But here he's trying to convince you that it does. I don't know why we have to keep rates where they were if we really saw inflation coming down quickly. What? Does anybody see, no offense, right? But does anybody see inflation coming down quick? What is he talking about? Right? But somehow, again, Jason, just gaslighting everybody. He's telling everybody, oh, we're going to lower rates. If we've got to, if we got to make inflation look better, we will. But I'm ready to keep cutting rates. Why? Why? And the answer really is simple. Because they can't control employment or prices, Jason. And let's face it, they already know, hey, if we don't start growing a whole lot faster, we're going to have a major debt crisis. And I can't say that on TV, so we're going to figure out how to lower rates, aren't we?
Yeah, it's whatever it needs to be, right, to fit the scam that is centralized government and centralized banking. It's good markets, bad markets is all going one direction, isn't it, Joe? That's why I dislike the federal income tax, because it's sort of the collection arm of the whole system, right? How do you keep the people running in the rat wheel? You collect some income tax, and the percent is always just enough to keep you going, but not too much to stop you, right? So it's it's going to keep on happening. People are fooled by this. It's why we sell what we sell. Gold and silver is such a great way to protect yourself from the reindeer games of central bankers, right, Joe? It's such a great way to save your hard-earned cash. Put it there.
Yeah, and when we're sitting here thinking about this, and I'm taking, obviously these are easy shots to take, but it's true. They can't do what they said they can do. They think that by raising rates or lowering rates, that's all pretend. That's all pretend. Think about this. They raised rates from 0 to what? What did they get to? What was the fund? Did they get to 5% before they started reversing? Pretty close, right? So that was a lot. Did employment go down? Did inflation go down? No. Well, at the very end, right? They got some inflation to go down to, from 8% to 3.5% or 4%, something like that, right? But they haven't done any of it. Now they've been lowering rates. Is inflation going down? No. Matter of fact, inflation's gone back up since they started lowering the rates. And Jason, I think this is something where I hope people understand why it is they're talking the way they're talking. At no point so they've been, the central bank's been around for 112 years, something like that, right? 112 years. At no point in their history would they be lowering rates in an economy that had full employment? Because 4% really, it's like full employment. It's hard to get even below that number. And on top of that, GDP growth, let's call it 2.5%. 2.5% GDP, full employment, prices rising. Every other point in time, they'd be, we got to raise rates. We got to keep raising rates. No, they're not saying that now. We got to lower rates. We got to do the opposite of what we've been telling you for over 100 years. And guess what? The guys on the idiot box, guess what they do? Oh, okay, thanks, Neil. Good job. Oh, yeah, that really clears it up for us. Why? Well, the answer is simple. They don't want you to know. Because if you knew, maybe you'd want to, end the Fed, right, Jason? I mean, there's a reason why, right? Hey, but don't worry, the Dow's at 40,000, so we're doing good. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Friday, and deals are coming in here very quickly. You got to act fast here. We have a very limited amount. These are going to be Mint State 64 $20 St. Gaudens. And these are going to have a rust, what we call a copper spot or two on them. I love it because, you got to remember, when our currency was backed by gold, we used it. So people, you think about gold, like 24 karat gold. That's so soft. It scratches. You can't have 24 karat gold. That's not a good thing to have, especially if you're going to use it as money. So they put copper in with the gold to give it hardness. And every once in a while, right, somebody at the mint didn't change out the filter or the water or something, and you get a copper spot here or there. So these are what we call spotted Mint State 64 $20 St. Gaudens, $2,950. So cheaper than just about anything out there today at 800-951-0592. And Jason, as you know, Mint State 64, that grade is up there, right? They consider Mint State 65 like gem quality. There's no, and just for the people that don't know grading, this is PCGS or NGC. They look at these coins under microscopes, and none of these coins made them out of the mint bags. They didn't get circulated. They never made them out of the mint bag. It just really depended on how many bag marks they had. Like when you're talking about the pre-33 gold, Mint State 67 is like the top of the top. So you're at 64. That's a really high grade here. And essentially you're buying it. I mean, shoot, spot's almost $2,900 right now. So $2,950, but I'm just telling you, super limited supply here. There is only 60 of these, and we're not the only dealer. They offered this to every dealer in the country. So if you want them, jump on them here. 800-951-0592. And Jason, it's a lot of people like this because there's no doubt this is what you've got. It's certified, right? It comes with the the authenticity guarantee in those holders.
Yeah, I mean, we sell raw coins and sell mostly raw coins, but having the graded coin gives you peace of mind. For some reason, especially if you're in Arizona or if you're in Colorado, and you stop in and pick up the coins, make an appointment. That's all well and great, but what if you move to another state? What if you actually have to sell these coins to somebody else? It does give you an extra guarantee to, some of these other guys that buy coins, right, Joe? They'll just say, we're gonna just rip you off and not give you very much money for these coins because we can't tell if they're real. Well, they're real. We sell all of our raw coins are just as real as the ones that are graded. However, if you're trying to sell to somebody that's trying to pull that stunt, well, they have to say that they know better than PCGS or NGC, this is what they do for a living. They authenticate coins and then give it a grade. And so when you get a graded coin, especially a Mint State coin, now you're getting a coin that hasn't been circulated. You got one that's really nice looking. Joe said there's some copper spots. That's, coins aren't perfect. They try to be perfect on some of these coins, but their coins aren't perfect. And getting something Mint State is really, really nice. It's a lot. When we sell graded, you get extra for practically the same money, Joe. That's what's good about when we sell graded.
This is a $3,200 coin. That's what it is. It's $2,950. I mean, that's what makes it great. When you're like Jason said, we don't sell. Put it this way: I don't even have Mint State 64s on the website. Why? Because I don't think why pay $3,200 for the same amount of gold, right? It doesn't make sense. But the realities are when we sell our graded coins, we're giving them away. You are paying solely for the gold content. I mean, that's just what we try to do. And so when we offer graded coins, which isn't often, we do here and there, just know these are really spectacular values, and that's really what we care about. Mint State 64 Saints, $2,950 until they are gone at 800-951-0592. 0592. And I know we've been teasing about the Hunt brothers, and we're just not going to get to it. Obviously, we will do it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a commitment. No matter what happens, we're going to do it Monday. We will do it on Monday. We just had so much news breaking the last couple of days that it's been very, very hard to focus in on things that aren't quite current events. But I don't know if you saw, starting to see this now, we'll see rising number of homeowners starting to miss mortgage payments. We haven't seen that. We've seen the car payments, seen the credit card payments. Right now they're saying, Jason, first-time home buyers, military, and military vets are missing their monthly payments, kind of just like we saw in the credit cards, right, and the automobiles. The people at the lower end are really starting to struggle here. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 100-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour on this Friday. Right now, gold's up $20 here, $28.75. It's been as high as $28.87 this morning. Silver at $32. The Dow down 300 points. Obviously, trade war problems. No calls with China. And, of course, Scott Bassett the other day saying, hey, we're probably going to put tariffs on a whole lot more than just Mexico, Canada, and China. So, again, China's retaliatory tariffs go into effect on Monday. So this is kind of what the market is anticipating. But we've got Mint State, 64 $20 Saints, PCGS, and NGC. Those are the grading services we use. Why do we use those two grading services? Because they're the best. They're the best. There's no one. They've been around forever. No one does a better job than this. These 64s will have a copper spot on them. I actually think it's great because, for me, when you see that, you're like, yep. That's a $20 gold piece right there. You know exactly what it is. And for those of you that have bought $20 gold pieces from us, you'll see that on the ungraded coins a lot, right? It almost looks like rust. Some of them are like little spots, like freckles. Others, it'll be around like the lettering on the outside near the rim of the coin. But it just is one of those things. Like we said, it just naturally happens. It doesn't affect the value of it. And again, these are Mint State 64s, $2,950 at 800-951-0592. To give you an idea, we got ungraded $10 Liberties on sale right now at $1,495. I mean, which is a fantastic price. Two of those would be $2,990. Now you're going to get a Mint State 64 Saint, right, for $2,950. Can't beat it, baby. 800-951-0592. Just call. I don't know when they're going to be gone because we don't control the lot here. We're just going to, however many we sell, that's how many we're going to buy. So this is going to be like, I forget, is it Burger King? We make it. We don't make it till you order it. We're not going to buy these till you order them. 800-951-0592. Mint State 64 Saints. $2,950. And Jason, I promise, we're going to get to the Hunt brothers on Monday. We will do it. Of course, Monday, who knows what's going to happen over the weekend, but no matter what, we're going to get to it.
It'll be there whenever we want to talk about it. It's just, I think it's an interesting time to be talking about it because I believe what was going on gold and being silver, especially being pushed. I think is happening with gold and silver right now. It's just being pushed by a different entity, and this time the entity is the one that would actually stop the Hunt brothers. So yeah, that'll be interesting when we talk about it, Joe, because the gold and silver market is going through some strange times and very exciting times when it comes to the price, because I'm not seeing any chance for a pullback right now, Joe. It just looks like it's going to keep going up.
Yep, 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason, listen, we're coming right back with the half-empty cup, and then we'll be back again on Monday. God bless everybody.